Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Weekly Coder. I'm Chris, and I'd like to apologize for not being here. I've been gone for, 3 weeks? There's an explanation. I got married, then we had a honeymoon, and then some other things came up that I had to take care of. So, we are now back and jumping right back into our Pac-Man game. So, where we left off is we had winning part 2. So, what we did there is we actually made it so that Pac-Man can increment levels. What we're going to do now is not just increment level numbers, but we're actually going to do something with that level information, such as increasing the difficulty. We're going to make some things happen. We're going to give the chase and scatter mode timers, we're going to make those different. We're going to increase or decrease the amount of time that the ghosts are in frightened mode. We're going to decrease the amount of time that the ghosts spend in the ghost house. We're going to increase the amount of time or decrease the amount of time that it takes the ghost to get to the ghost house after being consumed. And we're going to increase the ghost speed as well as increase Pac-Man's speed for every level. So that sounds like a lot, but it's actually not that bad. So let's go ahead and get started and not waste any more time. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open the game script. The game board script. So there's one thing we've got to do in here, and this is something that I should have probably done with the winning, and that is the incrementation of the level. Well, what happens here is the player win method is called when the player wins, and then it checks to see what the player number currently is, and if it's 1, then we increment player 1 level. Well, what happens here is that player win is called until the actual until it restarts, which is 2 seconds. So how many times can player 1 be incremented in 2 seconds? 200 and some odd times probably. So we only want this to happen once. So we're going to create a boolean up here in the variables. So I'm just going to do it right here. It's going to be private, and we're just going to call it did increment level. And we're going to set that to false, because we haven't incremented a level. Private bool. There we go. Private bool did increment level. Okay. So, player win. Here. If not did increment level, right? Then we want to say, actually, here, let's do this. Open bracket. Did increment level equals true, and then we say player 1 level plus plus. And for the same thing for player 2. If not did increment level, did increment level equals true. And we're going to put a closing curly bracket. And the reason that we don't have to have a did increment level for player 1 and player 2, so we don't have to have did increment level for player 1, did increment level for player 2, it's because every time that we restart the level and we tell it which player is currently playing, it doesn't matter which level got incremented because, or which player was playing when did increment level variable got called, because every time that we restart the level, game board is reinitialized, and did increment level is automatically set to false because that's what its default value is. So whether it's player 1 or player 2, it doesn't matter. So we can use this for both. Alright, so we're going to save that, and we are going to add something into our start method, and that's going to be right before start game, and we're going to write if is player 1 up, okay, and if player 1 level equals 1, and otherwise if player 1 is not up, that means we're player 2, and then we say if player 2 level equals 1. And this is going to be for the sound. The intro sound that you hear when you first start the game, the intro Pac-Man sound, I am not going to tune it out for you because my tuning voice is not so good. But basically, yeah, we only want that to play on the first level. So when he gets to the second level, we don't want that intro sound to play again. So we're going to have to disable it in the user interface. Well, we'll get into that in a minute first, but we're going to set that it's going to play if the level is 1. So we're going to do get component, audio source, and we're just going to call the play method. And same thing here, get component, audio source, and call the play method. Alright, so that pretty much takes care of that. Now let's jump over to Unity really quick, and we are going to go to our game board, our game object, and we're going to uncheck in the audio source, we're going to uncheck play on awake, because this makes this Pac-Man intro sound play every time the game object loads. Every time that game object gets initialized, it's going to play this this Pac-Man intro. So we're going to uncheck it, so it's not going to automatically play it. And then back in our game board class, it will play it. Okay, so we're saying, hey, we want to play this sound, but only if the level for player 1 is 1, or if player 2 is playing, the level for player 2 is 1. Simple enough, right? Alright, so let's save that. And there's some things here I know we need to do. So let's see, private, static, and player 1 level. We need those to be public because we need to know in our Pac-Man class and in our Ghost class if or what level the game is currently at for each player. So we need to make sure that these are public so we can call them outside the class. And then there's also the, let's see, there's another one. Player balance, total score, player 1 score, is player 1 up. Okay, public. We're going to make this one a static int as well, or sorry, a static bool. So public static bool is player 1 up, because we need to be able to call that from outside as well. Which means that we need to change in the, let's see here, is player 1 up. Let's go to Unity and it'll tell us where the errors are. I know there's going to be some. Okay, here we go. Game board is player 1 up. So that's in the Ghost class. In the consumed method, we've got GameObject.findGame.getComponent GameBoard is player 1 up. Well, we can get rid of all of that and just write GameBoard.isPlayer1 up. And then back in Unity, we've got one more here. And it's this one, same thing. We're just gonna erase all that and write GameBoard. Alright, now if we save that, go back to Unity, GameBoard.isPlayer1 up. That's right. Let's clear these errors. Static member GameBoard.isPlayer1 up. Cannot be accessed with an instance reference. Qualify it with a type name instead. So we do GameBoard.isPlayer1 up. And we're good. Okay. I don't know why that error just didn't want to go away. Sometimes Unity does weird things. But anyways, in the consumed method, we need to just do GameBoard.isPlayer1 up, and then the other one also, okay? So those, I think, were both in the Ghost class. So here's what we're going to do. Since we've got that done, we can now go into our Pac-Man class. And we are going to, in the start method, actually, let's go up here to the start method. And right below the start method, we're going to create a new method. And we are going to call this method something very cool. It's going to be called, it's going to be a void. It's going to be called set difficulty for level, and we're going to pass in an integer value, and we're going to call it level. Okay, so then we can do if level equals 2, else if level equals 3, else if level equals 4, else if level equals 5, and we're going to leave it there. We're going to go all the way up to 5 levels. Okay, so what we're going to do with Pac-Man is at each iteration of the level, we're going to change its speed. We're going to do speed equals 7, speed equals 8, speed equals 9, speed equals 10. Alright, because his initial speed in level 1 is 6. So the next level is going to be 7, then 8, then 9, and then 10. Alright, so in order to make this work, we have to actually go right here at the end of the start method, and we have to say if gameboard dot is player 1 up, oops, else we know player 2 is playing, so we're going to set difficulty for level gameboard dot player 1 level. Okay, and then here we're going to do set difficulty for level gameboard dot player 2 level. Okay, so simple enough, right? If once the Pac-Man game object initializes, it's going to go through its start method, and it finds this. It says, hey, is the first player currently playing? If he is, then we're going to set the difficulty for level. We're going to call that method, and we're going to say, what is the current level of player 1? And we're going to pass that value in. So then once this method gets called, it's going to say, hey, I got a level number. Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it 4? Is it 5? And if it's any one of these, then we're going to change the default speed value from 6 to 7, 8, 9, or 10. So what's going to happen if we get past level 5? Well, since it's not any of these if statements and we don't have a default to go to, what's going to happen is the speed is going to be 6. Right? You understand that, right? So we could easily say, hey, you know, if we don't want to make it any more difficult after level 5, then we can just do something like else if level does not equal 1 and level equals, or level is greater than 5, then speed equals 6. Right? We can do that. Or, yeah. Well, there's tons of different ways to do it, and that's just one of them. But anyways, this is Pac-Man. This is all we're going to do to Pac-Man as far as difficulty goes. Now, with the ghosts, that's a different story. Okay? We are going to also create, at the very top here, after start, I'm going to create a set difficulty for level, int level. Okay, same thing, if level equals 2, else if level equals 3, else if level equals 4, and else if equals 5. Okay. Now, in the start method, at the top here, we're going to call set difficulty for level. Oops. Got ahead of myself. If is player game board is player 1 up, else player 2, set difficulty for level, game board player 1 level, set difficulty for level, game board player 2 level. Alright? So we're doing the same thing that we did in the Pac-Man script, and we're setting the difficulty for the level depending on which player is currently playing. And we're choosing the variable that corresponds to that player. And we're calling this. So what are we gonna change? Well, we talked about a couple of things, and that is we are going to modify the 4 scatter mode timers and the chase mode timers. So we're going to do scatter mode, timer 1, scatter mode, timer 2, scatter mode, timer 3, scatter mode, timer 4, chase mode, timer 1, chase mode, timer 2, and chase mode, timer 3. The other things we're going to change are frightened mode, F-R-I-G-H, frightened mode duration. We are going to change start blinking at. We're also going to change the release timer for Pinky release, Inky release, and Clyde release. And we're going to change the move speed, the normal move speed, the frightened mode move speed, and the consumed mode move speed. Okay? So those are the variables that we are going to modify. Now, scatter mode timer, we're going to set at 7, just like it was. 7, and then 5. And then we're going to set the 4th one to 1. That's where I'm differing here, because Pac-Man, the original Pac-Man would have set this to 1/60th of a second. And I'm setting it to 1 second. Chase mode is going to be 20, 20, and something really drastic, 1033. That's the actual number of seconds that it takes for the 3rd chase mode in the actual original Pac-Man game. So that's a fun fact for you. We're going to change the fright mode duration to 9 and start blinking at to 6. I'm going to change Pinky's release timer to 4, Inky's to 12, and Clyde's to 18. I'm going to change the move speed to 6.9F, the normal move speed to 6.9F, the frightened mode move speed to 3.9F, and consumed to 18F. Alright. So what I'm going to do, so that I don't have to continuously type this over and over and over and over, is I'm just going to copy and paste and paste and paste one more time. And then we're just going to change the values here. Okay, so for level 3, we're going to have the same scatter mode timers. We're going to have the same chase mode timers. We're going to change this from 9 to 8 and that from 6 to 5. And then we're going to do 3 here, 10, and 15. I'm going to do 7.9, 7.9, 4.9, and 20. And for level 4, we're going to keep these the same again. This one's going to go to 7. This one's going to go to 4. This one's going to go to 2. And we're going to have 8 and 13. And then we're going to go with 8.9, 8.9, 4.9, and 22. And then here we're going to make a couple of changes. We're going to change all of these to 5. We're going to keep these at 20. We're going to change this to 1037. And then we're going to change that to 6 and this to 3. We're going to change this to 2, 6, and 10. And we're going to change these to 9.9, 5.9, 4.9. Yeah, this one's supposed to be 5.9. This one's 6.9. And this one will be 24. Okay. So let's save that. And let's give the game a try. Alright, I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit. You should see that Pac-Man is going to start increasing his speed once we get to the second level. Freaking Linky. Alright, so now that we're done with level 1, we should be at level 2. No sound. And we are ready to go. And Pac-Man's already faster. It gets really intense by level 5. I mean, you guys can change how quickly Pac-Man will increase his speed. Maybe you don't have to go up a whole, like, 1 unit. Because I think the difficulty increases just a little too fast for my taste. Alright. Level 3 should get even more faster. Pac-Man's literally flying. And see how much faster the ghosts are coming out of Frighten mode now? So they don't even give you a whole lot of time to capture them. Ah! Damn it. I got you. Whoa, that's close. Alright. So now, we'll be at level 4. It's getting tough. See how much faster Pac-Man is? It's ridiculous. This makes playing the level extremely quickly, though. I mean, you can get through a level way faster. Ah! Alright, we're about to hit level 5. Didn't think I was gonna make it. insanely fast. So intense. Oh my god. It's so bad. It's so fast. I hope I make it because I want to show you guys what happens when you get to level 6. Ah, okay. Good. So now when we're at level 6, because we didn't have anything else left in there, the game's going to slow down, like, dramatically. See, we're back at like we were at level 1. So everything is exactly like it is at level 1, which is, you know, slow. Alright. Alright, so that's Pac-Man, right? So we increase the difficulty, makes the game more fun to play, and more challenging for sure. The next thing we're going to do is next week, we are going to actually try and finally implement the second player so that we can have 2-player game. Okay? So that's going to be fun. And I don't really think we actually have to do a whole lot for that because we've got most of the stuff that we've been working on lately has been already to set up all the second player stuff. So there shouldn't be a whole lot. But we'll get into that. Anyways, if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. And remember, comments go down below. Don't forget to subscribe. Mark, shout out goes to you. Thank you for continuing to support me on Patreon. It means a lot to me. I will see you guys next week.